Okay, thanks for listening to my presentation here. The title is What is the Truth? And I'm going to go through my own personal journey of my faith and some of the work I do. And the outline is some objective analysis and subjective experience. Um, I will first discuss science and faith, and then the figure of historical Jesus, and also my own experiences of God. And on the right hand side of this slide, you can see one of the school symbol of my graduate school. And at the bottom, you can see that it said, "The truth shall make you free." Right? And what I do in my graduate school for about 5 years there, and I had a lot of friends. They are not they're not Christians, and they always ask me this question: what is this phrase, "The truth will set you free," coming from? So there I go in. What is the truth? Okay, so here you saw a bunch of figures here, um, and yeah, since I came from Caltech, right? So actually, one of my roommates is a brilliant physicist, and so he always tell me, yeah, the truth is you've scored the Feynman diagrams and the equation of quantum electrodynamics, right? So I don't know what he's talking about, but anyway, yeah, it's physical, physics equations, right? Quantum theory, and on the top here, some of my Chinese colleagues are saying that, well, um, with a lot of very very rich Chinese culture, right, going back thousands of years, right? Confucianism, Taoism, right? So they really teach a lot of um, principle of life, and this must be the truth, right? On the right hand side, bottom, um, some friends also said, well, no. There are more than that. It must be um, some of the art, some of the music, some of the painting, right? Abstractism, uh, Renaissance, and all these. These are the truth. And for myself, uh, so I have to say something about my work also. On the top right corner, I'm I'm a scientist, engineering. I work on nanotechnology, right? So some of these are very uh, very, very thin atomic and molecular layers of devices and systems. Okay, so everybody have a different perspective of the truth. Okay, so I'm just gonna go through some of my personal uh, testimonies uh, on science and faith. Um, so I've been studying, right, for about 20, 25 years or so, my life, and then also working in the Silicon Valley. That's about 30 some years, and now I'm residing at Stanford. So, but for all these uh, lifetime of research and studies, and um, a very simple simple conclusion is I do not see any really conflict between science and faith. And so basically, yes, if you look at the right hand side, I have these three kind of figures um, describing uh, a universe, um, a life form, right? DNA structures, and some of the nanotechnology and materials science, right? Three different scale, right? And um, even though they are so different in the length scale, and but you can really if you are studying this area, these areas, you will, um, if you look at the design of this, right, whether it's a universe or DNA or cell size or electronic chips, um, you can sense that there's so much design coming into it, and they follow such stringent physical and physical laws and chemistry and biology. It's truly reflect uh, the evidence of an intelligent creator behind this, right? Rather than some kind of random evolution process or variation, right? So, so my take is, um, people like us, right, intellectuals, hardworking students and engineers, um, we also need to know God, right? Why we are here, right? What's the purpose? And for myself, the more I study science, engineering, uh, the more I realize we have so much more to learn and explore and to appreciate. So finally, just one verse that I quoting from uh, the book of Psalm, right? This is coming from um, King David of Israel. He he was just marvel at uh, the creation, right? And he was saying that when I considered the heaven, the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars, what is man, right? Man is so small, so insignificant, and and you still be mindful of him. Um, so that's a very good appreciation. Okay, just to follow up what I said, and so the first um, category is universe, right? And just like many kids, growing up, I also very interested in astronomy and our solar system, our galaxy, black hole and things like that. It's always in my life looking at through the telescope, or you can visit NASA or some of the other observatory. Really look at the grand scale of the universe, and keep, and we of course we know that we keep discovering new phenomena and physics in the universe. Okay, so now come to the fun part. Um, so I'm just gonna just briefly mention one example, the fine tuning of the universe, and I'm just quoting two very famous um, world-class scientists, uh, uh, Stephen Hawking from Cambridge, and you probably read his book, Brief History of Time, right? So, and in the book and in some of the paper that he offered, um, even though uh, he's not a Christian, and he studied the physics and um, um, the time space continuum, and and one of the actually one of the sentence here I'm just quoting him. I can appreciate taking all these physical thing that we observe, right, in astronomy and physics, that these are evidence of a divine purpose in the creation and the choice of the physical law by God. So this is coming from Hawking, and the other famous professor, Steven Weinberg, Nobel laureate from UT Austin, and he also he's an atheist, but he also again kind of echoing that um, the designs of the the current universe as we know it, the the physical equation, the mathematics, is so amazingly accurate and uh, carefully designed, right? So these are well beyond human um, understanding imagination, right? So he particularly, well, Weinberg studied some of the uh, early time of the Big Bang, and you look at the energetics of these uh, phenomena, and if you look at the the numbers at the bottom, there's so many zero, I couldn't even count them. But basically, he would sort of conclusion is basically uh, the design is so much fine tuned and accurate. Uh, a a teeny tiny variation, right? I think it's 10 to minus 31. Uh, then this universe and this solar system and our planet will be totally different, right? And of course, we live on this Earth, and uh, there will be no atmosphere to protect us from radiation. Uh, Water will not exist in liquid form. Too hot. There are a lot of high magnetic field. So basically, no life will exist. Right? So basically, just a brief summary is from both from Hawking and Weinberg. They also they point out this is really pointing towards a behind a intelligent creator. Okay, now I come to the second category, and life itself, right? So particular, for example, the amazing design of DNA, and of course I'm not a biologist or the medical expert, but I definitely quoting renowned NIH director, ex-director, Dr. Francis Collins, and one of the in his book, The Language of God, he mentioned about the the amazing, wonderful structure of DNA, double helix molecule. Is truly an intelligent design to marvel. And on the bottom two, there are two figures from Collins, and on the right hand side is a top view TEM, right, the transmission electron microscope on the top view, so you can see the double helix structure. On the top, on the left hand side is a very similar picture, but it's not DNA. This is a picture of a window of the York Cathedral in England. Actually, I've been to this cathedral too. And so Collins' point is that some of these life structure like DNA and RNA and all these things are so amazingly designed, and you're truly reflecting. There's some kind of, analogy to some of the creation, right? Spiritual creation, right? Such as, right, from this window of this famous York Cathedral. So that's a very interesting comment from Collins. Okay, now coming to my area in some of the nanoscience and technology, I'm just making up this example here that you are taking a break from hard work and relaxing one day on the beach, and then you pick up something, right? And supposedly you pick up a CPU chip or GPU now, whatever, and if you bring it home, if you have an electron microscope and you look at it, right, you under the scope, and you can see how amazing these devices were designed, right? So they're right. This is a because when I work at Intel for 20 years, and the first system that I'm working on is the 22 nanometer uh, devices, and now they, of course, on your iPhone, right? We're talking about 5 nanometer, right? 5 or going to 3 nanometer, right? Uh, but if you look at the microscope, you know, the there's tremendous amount of electronic devices, right? Billions of them, right? 16 layer of metals and three-dimensional structures and all these things. So, so wouldn't you think that this is definitely design, right? This is designed by some very poor, hardworking engineer from Intel or TSMC or wherever, right? So my point is, all these things, um, the universe, our life systems, some of the uh, nanometer scale material, these are all follow the same kind of principle of intelligent design, right? So truly there's a there's a creator behind it. Okay, now I'm going to the second part of the presentation. Um, so we always talk about the Bible, right? And we know this is handwritten copy, scribed, uh, thousands of years, right? So people always question the accuracy of these copies and copies. So just want to cite one example here. Um, in 1946, in the Qumran cave at Israel, right? The two shepherd boy was discovered, so the Dead Sea Scroll, right, in these caves, and total is about 36 scroll of them, and these are all the hand copy of the Old Testament, and of course they've been studied right since then, and really demonstrated the accuracy of the scribe manuscript of the Bible, right? And also want to mention particularly important is cave number 1 in Qumran. They found the Isaiah scroll, and Isaiah scroll is very critical. It's one of the one of the most important book in the Old Testament, and because it have a lot of details about the Messiah, the coming of the Messiah, and also the Dead Scroll has been, of course, studied and carbon dated and things like that, right? So they dated to a couple hundred BC, and so one example is the most preserved Old Testament, what we call the Leningrad Codex. That was in Russia. It's dated about 1000 AD, right? So there's 1,000 years apart, and it's truly amazing the comparison of these Dead Sea Scroll to the Leningrad Codex, for example, is showing that the accuracy is like 99.95%. It's just the error is so insignificant, right? And and of course, if you're in Israel, you can visit the Shrine of the Book, right, on this top left corner, the museum in Jerusalem, and you can see actually the Dead Sea Scroll, and particularly the Isaiah book. So we're just talking about Isaiah 53. So this is one of the important chapter in the book of Isaiah discovered in the Dead Sea Scroll. I just want to highlight a few points. This particular chapter is critical because it describes very accurately the coming of the Messiah, God's messenger, and Jesus Christ. So it is if you study this chapter, you look at it in few sections. They prophesied very detailed about the personality of the Messiah. He is a humble servant. He bear our pain and our suffering, and also importantly, they prophesy his death, hang on a piece of wood, and bury next to a rich landlord, and finally his victory. There's also other books in the Old Testament. For example, listed here in the book of Micah, also prophesy he's coming from the city of Bethlehem, and Zechariah also mentioned about he's coming into the Jerusalem riding on a donkey, and then also other many details. So I just want to kind of describe some of the biblical prophecy. They're so accurate, and they really fit into the life of Jesus, right? And of course, it is truly amazing because one really cannot control how you die and how you're buried and where you born and things like that, right? So this is one of the prophetic feature of the Bible. So who is Jesus? Just a few simple example here. He's not a musician, right? But obviously we know famous folks like Beethoven, Bach, and Handel, right? Who wrote the Messiah symphony in the Christmas time. They all composed very many pieces of magnificent music about Jesus. He's not a writer. He never wrote a book. But people like Shakespeare and Leo Tolstoy, they use his story, his teaching, to compose a lot of brilliant manuscript. And finally, he's not a painter, and you can see this picture here, the painting, right? You can see it in Rome. Da Vinci created a lot of masterpieces, and including this one, The Last Supper, to describe the story of Jesus. Okay, so finally, looking at Jesus' death, it's a very unique phenomena. Here showing a picture of a empty tomb, right? So this is very different from Muhammad's tomb or Buddha's tomb, right? Where we know that those guys were buried there. The bones are still there, right? But Jesus' tomb is empty. Just like he said, after 3 days, he's risen. And of course, we can go more detail into this. But basically, the resurrection of Jesus after his crucifixion is a critical factor of our belief, right? And just like Paul wrote in the first book of Corinthians, if Christ has not been raised, our preaching is basically useless, and so is our faith, right? So this is a fundamental truth for Jesus. And as we also discussed before, the Bible, Old and New Testament, they are God's word. They're shown to be reliable and accurate. There are many archaeological evidence for that, and also continue to be discovered. And also, as we just read about, the book of Isaiah prophesies the Messiah figure, right? Jesus Christ, his historical figure, his teaching, his miracle, his death, and the resurrection truly showing that he is the one. He's a messenger from God, and he is the bridge between us and God. And his death and resurrection truly had changed the world history and changed countless people's life. And one more slide about Jesus' resurrection. As I said, this is the most critical factor in our belief, right? So on the left-hand side is, again, quoting Paul's writing in the first book of Corinthians, chapter 15, that he mentioned a very important fact that Jesus showed himself to the disciple, right, to Peter and to the 12 disciples after he resurrected, and he stayed here for 40 days. And also, he at one time had shown himself to more than 500 people, believers, at the same time, and they are truly the eyewitness, right, of his risen. So this is very significant. And also the table here in this page, kind of just showing briefly the ending of these disciple of Jesus, right? So and the last column is how they ended, meaning how they died. So you can look at them. They're very gruesome death, except one, John. John, we know that the disciple, he just died of old age. But the other one, because they saw Jesus resurrected from the death, and they believe truly that he is God's messenger, the Messiah, and they all change. The life all change, and they went off to different places. You can see here, some go to Turkey, go to Rome, Greece, and Africa. The furthest one, India, right? But look at the ending. They all die for their work and their preaching. They preaching about the living God and the Messiah that they believe in, but they're willing to die for it. So that's the most important part. If the resurrection is a hoax, right? I mean, there are many theory about that, but nobody can disprove it, right? For 2,000 years, and look at these apostles or disciples; they are willing to die for it. So this is very strong evidence that they're the eyewitness. They saw the real Jesus after death. So. So finally, I'm going to the last section. Unfortunately, it's a bit of time. Can only go through a few bullets, maybe a next presentation. So some of the previous discussion is more objective, right? Look at archaeology, history, and things like that, and science and faith. But one of the very important aspects of my faith is I truly experience God. And number one is I really have a very strong sense of direction, right? The purpose of my life, right? So why am I here, right? And truly experience his love for myself, and with peace, and have no fear. Even though I still face many challenges in life, right? In family, in work, in all kind of circumstances. And the second point is because he is a living God, right? Jesus resurrected. We can communicate and talk to him and pray to him every day, right? This is very important for myself, and also You can learn uh, from reading the Bible, from His Word, right? And also experiences the love between brother and sister, church and fellowship, right? So this is actually also a very important part in my journey. And finally, last but not least, um, there's eternal hope because He's a truly living God, and He promised that we will be with Him uh, eternally because um, our life journey here on this planet is limited, and we will be with Him as He stated many times in the scriptures, and also we will see our families and brother and sister um, together. Okay, to summarize, um, so our question is, what's the truth, right? And um, I hope you have some understanding now that uh, the truth is really Jesus, right? Just like He said in John chapter 14, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man come unto the Father but by me. And He also said in chapter 8, then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. Thank you.